Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone has had a good start to their week. Switch things over. Cool. Oh. Yeah, week's been busy already, but glad to get into some more looking at .NET Aspire. Also, we have Microsoft Build kicking off tomorrow, early hours of tomorrow morning for Australians, but tomorrow overall. So there should be some good announcements coming out of that. So I'm excited for some interesting progress on the developer experience front, but we'll see. I'm sure there'll be AI everywhere, all over it, so we'll just have to see what comes out. Okay, so where were we last time we kicked off? So I believe we were working on this kind of role-playing system AI project which we had started up in Aspire. So I've done some basic stuff. We had deployed I think we deployed it to the cloud and got it kind of working, and found some interesting issues and things like that, such as having capital names in service names is bad. So if we come into the code here and we go to our app host, and you can see I fixed that by giving them lowercase names so that it doesn't fail when we try and deploy it. So, but today what we're going to do is going to spend a bit of time doing local development. I do want to try and get the AI component kind of working. I've got a local AI running on another machine, so I want to try and connect that in and get that going. So I'm just gonna turn the music down just a bit. That one's a bit heavy, a bit loud. I want it to be kind of chill. I think tonight the goal is just to have a pretty chill night, relax. But yeah, if anyone watching has any questions, feel free to jump in the chat. If you're excited for Microsoft Build, let me know what you're excited about, and we can have a talk about it. So, but for now, we'll just kick on. So, where are we up to? Let's try and get the Game Master AI running. So, we've got our AI service and we want to get text completions. So that's fine. So we had the AI service defined in here. Okay, great. So I'm not going to use Azure OpenAI for this. We're going to use local AI for the moment, and we'll figure out how to get that working when it's in the cloud later. So what I'm going to need to do is I'll need to go into the AIPS lib, and we're going to add a package which is Ollama Sharp. So I'm running the AI using a system called Ollama. So we're going to add that as a dependency into here. We have semantic kernel kind of already there. We'll see if we use semantic kernel, may not. See how it goes. Alright, so what we're going to need to do here is going to need to set our connection with Ollama. So let's add it into our class using Sharp. She's going to drop these two for now, just comment them out. Just because I'm not sure if I'm going to use them for the moment. Okay. And we'll remove that too. So let's do a public service. So we're going to initialize the service here. Alrighty, so I'm trying to think of ways that I want to do this because I don't want to have to try and initialize the service all over the place. I want to do it in a central place and have it work like that. I would have liked to have used the outpost here to do that, and I might still try and figure out a way to do that, add it kind of as a project which then gets added as a reference to everything, but I'm unsure of the best way to tackle that at the moment. So for now, goal will be to get it working, then we can refactor later on to using it in a bit more of a .NET Aspire way. Ooh, sorry about that. Alrighty. So, okay. So we want to initialize service, so that needs to be here. So we want to make that private because it's just accessible to this one here, and then we'll say kernels equals new kernel builder. Builder. Pretty sure that's, was it not? Oh, create builder. Okay, and now let's do a whole heap of things for us that we don't want. No, thanks, Kabbalah. No. Try that. And what are we saying? Does not exist. Okay. Okay. Trying to remember how I want to do this. Oop. Thank you for the follow. Okay. I think that's, yeah, let's just remove that message. I don't think that's particularly what we want to be seeing. Thank you for the follow nonetheless. Alrighty. Now, I'm trying to remember how I've done that. I've done this in other projects, but let's go and have a look at some documentation and work out how I'm meant to be using this one. Okay, let's see. So I don't actually need to use a kernel at all. Kernel is semantic kernel. If I'd done this in a semantic kernel way, then I'll be using OMLARMA. So we don't need, and we can see that there is Microsoft semantic kernel. So we're not using that. So we want the API client for OMLARMA, and then we want to say we want the new client, and now we'll need, for that we'll need some config. So I want to get that configuration passed through to here. So I think is that what, so that's HTTP client string default model. Yep, so that should be right. So we should be able to do URL model there. Alright, so that'll give us our client. So we'll have a URL and we'll have a model. Cool. And then when we want to return, so then we return dot get completion. Now that's gonna need something else. Okay. Alright. It seems my IntelliSense is not working very well. So it's completion. What does completion take? It takes model request, conversation context. Okay, let's go back to our documentation. It just says it's like chat.send. Do a chat send and we say wait. This is still telling me there's an issue because chat doesn't have. What does chat want? Can you tell us what? Can you tell us what you want? You want to stream? Okay. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. That's the docs. Here's their demo. So look how they're doing in their demo. So just having a look through their demo to see how they're doing it. Over here. Can't get a running on this. I do have a different way I've done it. So they have a chat console which takes in the client, and then that gives a stream. Yeah, don't really want to be streaming stuff back. Okay. So, I think what I need to do here is actually go back to have done this in the past using semantic kernel, which is fine. Okay. Now I've done this in a previous project, which I think is this 5-layer one here. So I have a extension, which is this Llama chat completion service extension here, which inherits from the I chat completion services. So let's set that up. So let's go with a new folder called extensions. And what did we call this one? We called it the Llama chat completion service. Okay. And so that was a public chat completion service. Inherits from I chat completion service. Now it's of course going to complain because because we don't have all the correct usings and everything at the moment. So doing semantic kernel here, use that on a sharp space. I think it's the right namespace. Let's just check. Yep, that's the namespace we've been using. And it's still giving me grief. Okay. So we need all of these. Let's copy them out. Put them there. And that might help too. Now it's complaining, saying it doesn't implement members, which is fine. Just give it a quick fix and say implement me the interface. Alright, great. So we're gonna go check. So we need these public properties here, so to give us our model URL and our model name. And we can dump in a public there. Now this is going to tell me I can use a primary constructor, which is fine, we can do that. Okay, attributes I don't think we have anything for. Okay. Now if we pop back to here. And then we're going to create the API each time we call it, that's fine. Rather than having it hang over. Alright, so we will need a client, API client. That's going to be a node because it's going to say, hey, those could be nulls. So we'll just do that. So that throws the exception before we get too much further into things. So we can bounce out and then we say, okay, cool, we've got the client. Okay. So we have a chat history here, and here, I'll just check my reference. And then it creates a new chat here. Okay. I'm using this weird discard here. So we'll grab that. And we've called it our client. Okay, and then we will send through any of the messages within the chat which has to do with the author role being system. Let's get a complaint because this is not async. It is now. And what are we doing? What's your issue? That's fine. Okay, cool. So we have a for each over the chat messages, and then we put down here, and then we grab the last message and return the chat history. So let's just double X. We know that, so we have tested this. This code does work. So we're going to grab that. Okay, let's just get some formatting fixed. Pop that back there. Okay, cool. So that then returns us the chat history, which is fine. Okay, and I think, yeah, everything else is not really implemented in what we're doing, which is fine. Cool. Alright, so what we can do here though, because we are implementing an interface, so we could create a second service which does this but for OpenAI, for Azure OpenAI. And then all that'll mean is that when we come to running it, if we're running it locally, we'll use the Ollama chat completion service, but when we're running it remote, we'll use the OpenAI one. And that will allow us to do those two things. Cool. Alright, so then if we come back here, so we don't need to, so we do need that, so we need private, actually no, we don't call that, we call it an iChat completion service, chat completion service. And then this will be injected in dependency injection. Okay, Copilot submit. So Copilot's going to, now this one creates a new chat history each time, which will work for now because it'll give that for now. Oh, sorry, I'm very yawny tonight. So yeah, so each time you go for a completion, it will give that, and now this is going to return. Wants us to handle some nullables. I think. Why are we still? Because it doesn't match this. Why don't we match? Mostly also because this needs to be a task. And this needs to be a task because we are calling async. And we'll actually add async here just so we know it's an async method. Alright, cool. And now this is going to tell me to add that as read-only, which is correct, as it is a read-only method. Alrighty. So come in here and we've got a chat history. Now what we don't have is the prompt being injected, so we'll add that in here too. Because we do want the prompt. Just a chat history dot add system message prompt. So I'm going to add our system message with our prompt, our message from our user, and go from there. So what we don't have in place at the moment is any kind of history from the user. So it's not building up context. It's simply a new context each time. So if we go over here, so we can see the chat history here is coming in. So if we want to maintain that chat history, we're going to have some way of storing and identifying who the user is and what that chat history is. So, which is certainly doable, but we'll get to that point. Again, we'll just focus on kind of getting things working at the moment, and then we'll build up to being able to persist history and things like that. Okay, great. So we've got that. So what we'll then need to do, I'm just going to add git add that in to make sure we've got that. Okay, so now when we come into this one here, now that's going to complain because we're not sending it through to. So what we need here is prompt. Okay, let's spell it out. So what we're doing here is we're saying, I want you to describe a scene for me. I'm going to give it an action and whether or not the player succeeded in that action or not. And I want you to describe a scene for me. And then we will say, not describe the next actions of the player. We describe his and the world. Okay, so let's see how that goes as a prompt. Okay, so we're actually going to need to change this from get to a post. I'm going to have to go player action. And you know, the player action. Oops. Okay, so I might just give it the player action. So let's just, I have just JSON here, so serialize. So I'm passing through the JSON, which is the player action, which will contain, go back to go to the models, to our library. So it will include a description and an outcome. So I'm not sure I'm using this one, but that's okay. Okay, so that's fine there. And then describe an action. Okay, so first one describes what happens around the player and the world of what the player is doing. And then we go prompt. Okay. Now let's see if that works. So that's the action, and then we have the prompt. So we have two things. We have describe a scene and describe an action. And apparently we still have a weather forecast, so let's just get rid of that. Okay. So let's see if we can still build everything, see if we haven't broken anything. And let's see if we can run. Why? Oh, yeah, we're in the wrong directory. Let's build, make sure we can still build. Nope, I am getting errors. So I'm getting errors from other, because I changed the central library, didn't go and update it here. So let's quickly go and update it here. Probability of success, see 1 in 100. No, the AI will not roll the dice. We will be doing that ourselves. Okay. Now this will be interesting to see what it returns. And this is where we're going to get some interesting issues that come up with returns from the AI, because we might have to start enforcing it to actually return JSON to say that we need it to do that. But see how that goes. So I'm just going to correct that out, and okay, so what we need to do there is we need to get the last we are not waiting. Okay. Now, I'm going to say last to default. You can just get last to default, that's fine. And the issue here is a possible null. So we will just say, well, we capture and try, but we'll just say if and just say that the action failed. So that's fine. Do a try parse. We'll say okay, so I'm just going to do it. Set that to -1. Actually, I don't need to do that because we actually declare it within this. And okay. What was that issue? Tryparse does not explicitly check whether it succeeded. That's fine. That's fine. Cool. Alrighty. So this will give us, based off of a player action, whether or not player action succeeded, or if it was failed. Okay, and I'm just going to add in here. Don't have a logging system yet. Again, something else to consider as part of all of this is a kind of centralized log, so that we can track all that. But for now, we'll just try exception. We'll actually grab the exception as well, rather than leaving that blank, and then we'll say extract message. Actually get the message from the exception out. Okay, so that's that one. World describer. Okay, so this is the one where we're asking it to give a description of something. So that's fine. So we will want Let's see what Copilot helped us type out there. Alright, cool. So we're just asking it to extend upon descriptions. Do it, I'll wait. Okay. Here's last default. It's gonna be set because it could be null. So, nope. Puzzle reference supremacist source. Okay, there we go. So if response is null, just return the output being null. But if the response is, if I can I take this away now actually? Yes, I can. Cool. Otherwise, give us the response and what was there. Okay, let's try and build again and see if I've resolved those errors. Yep, looks like I have. Still got a few warnings, but that's okay for the moment. Alrighty. Let's see if we can run this, hey? Cool, so it's starting up. So let's grab this one here, jump in here, and alright, and we have projects failing, and I think I know why. Go logs, and we can see validating service type, because you know what we didn't do? We did not inject that new service. So we need to do this is add singleton chat. So we actually need to add this into each of the applications. Okay, add that in, and this one. Right, give me the quick fix semantic kernel. Okay, let's try that again. Oops, copy and paste. Nope, still got an issue. Okay. Still to. I think I know what's going on. Alright. Because when we're calling the AI service, I think I have put in the constructor, which I don't think we need there. Where did I do that? Let me check my reference project. Did I hard code? Yeah, it looks like I hard coded that. Which is not what we want to be doing. I don't want to be hard coding those values. No, it's hard coding for a message queue. Anyway. am I actually setting? So I'm just checking where I'm actually setting that. Inside this service. Yeah, inside that service. And again, I'm hard coding, which I don't want to do in this case. I do want to be grabbing that from config. Okay, so if we come back into don't want that. I actually want to be getting config, but why? Why is it not letting me? Because I don't have configurations. Okay, so let's go to the PS. I'm gonna need to. There's a better way of doing that, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But you can set a object and have that pull from config. Actually, so let's just go back. So we'll go back to this and say URL string model. Does it make those private? No. Okay. So rejecting that. Okay, so I don't need it here. I don't need them here. So I should be able to get the configuration from here. Now that doesn't like that. There. Okay, so let's try this again. Project's running. There we go, everything is up and running. Cool. Let's go and try one of these. Actually, well, it's going to fail. We know it's going to fail because we have not added in our configuration. So let's bump that down. Let's go and do, we'll just do this one for now. Okay, it's not localhost, but I'll get that in a minute. Probably phi3 because I'm using a small model. We pop over here, and there we go. This will give us our local instance of Llama that's running within my network on one of my secondary machines. Alright, so now we should have that there. Okay, so we say try it out, and we want the input to be a small tavern quiet town. So we're giving it an input, and we're expecting an output to execute. Now this might take a while because I don't think I've hit the AI endpoint in a little bit, so it may take a minute to spin up. Hopefully it's still running and functioning. I haven't confirmed that, but haven't touched it either, so it should be. But we will see. Whoop, here we go. We have a response. And there we go. We've got a rather large response, which is cool. Always surprised by how powerful Phi3 is for such a small model, especially for these kind of activities where you don't have to worry as much about hallucinations, at least not within this. It's kind of a creative aspect. So cool. Alright, so we have that description, so now let's go plug in the rest of them. Let's go do their configs and see how that, make sure they're all working as well. So we can just go grab. Now we could mostly also set up something in the app host here to actually register that as not as a project but as a resource. Sorry, let's go plug them in, and then I might do some research on that and see how we could possibly add this in, because it's just a HTTP endpoint. So let's add that setting in. Add that setting. Okay. Okay, so it's running. All right. So let's try the probability calculator. Okay, so we want a probability of this action. Now we're not using real D&D probability rules here. And it's saying it gave me the outcome of false. Now, it didn't give us anything else. It didn't give us like a reason or anything like that. So yeah, we'll just have to see how that goes. So next we want to try the Game Master. So it would be good to try and get it to tell me what the dice rolls are. So I'd actually get it to use D&D dice rolls, which would be interesting, but then we'd have to be providing it with more context and information. Cool. Which is certainly something we could look at doing. It understands the base D&D rules that are in the model set. Okay, so let's try out the scene. There you go. So this time we're actually told that the outcome is true. And we do an execute. And we'll see what it comes back with. Okay, for some reason it's come... I've actually returned the full response body, so which includes the prompt and what was given. So I'll just double check that in a minute. But now it's given a description of the activity. And it's being pretty verbose about it, which is interesting. Okay, so let's see what happens. So that's for me to ask to describe a scene. So let's now try describe an action. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give it a failed outcome. So we want to describe the action which happens to the player in this case. So let's see what happens. Okay, again, I'm returning the full information here. Cool, so it's describing so it's described, it's set up the scene here, and then it's given the fact that you've had a false outcome, and it's told you what's happened because from that action. Cool. Pretty happy so far with the way those responded. Let's go have a quick look at why those two are responding with full, like, both the prompt and the input. So I'm returning the full response. Whereas with the probability calculator, I think I was returning just this particular action here. I think Okay, and also here I was returning a specific thing there. Okay, so they all seem to be pretty much working, which is good. Cool. So what I wanted to do next was, so let's make sure we're saving this. So in the right directory I am. So I'll say G up into the APIs. There we go. Just gonna push this up to make sure that I've got this sitting up in GitHub. Right. So this is certainly one way of doing it, and this works and it's functional, which is cool. So next we want to see, can I make this into something that I can put into the app host? So what can I do here? Because I can add a resource. Can I add a resource? It's of a type. Well, let's go look for some documentation. What can I do here? So this is like adding Redis and Postgres, which not really what we want to do. And then this is adding like a custom resource, which is its own project. Don't think we quite like. I am expecting that Ollama will end up with its own custom resource at some point, but I don't think that's what I'm doing at the moment. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Let's have a look. Messaging, caching we don't want. Because there's an OpenAI component, which you can certainly add. And that adds as a connection string. I wonder if we can do that as a connection string then. Then how do we use it? So you can add a connection. Add a connection string here. And yeah, that's still the builders, but I want to, how do I then pull that out? And it's still adding OpenAI. Still as connection string. I wonder how we do that. So build a connection. So it's establishing, is this in publish mode? If it is, call this. If it isn't, call add a connection stream. How do I get it to use that connection stream? Also, going to be. I don't want to try to communicate with it itself. It's definitely an external thing, so that's right. Yeah, I think it's still running like that at the moment. Sorry. Yeah, no, that's alright. I think at some point they'll make the Ollama project here, and then I'll be able to do something like, if it's using one thing, use this. If not, use this. It would be good to actually have a resource which is essentially large language model, and then you can choose. Am I using OpenAI? Am I using Azure OpenAI? Am I using some other endpoint that may be OpenAI compliant? And then using something like semantic kernel, like I have down here, where I've actually got extensions, because I can write another extension here, which would inherit again from the chat completion service. And do it slightly differently. So it could be that OpenAI, or that could be the Azure OpenAI, which I think is the default implementation. Anyway, sorry. Oh, I'm really tired today. That's alright. Keep going. We'll keep going. Alright, so I've got these services here. So they are reaching out to the AI. So if I come here, we've got our clients here. Now I know that this needs to change because that client is no longer a get, it is a post. And it will be a player action. Post as, that helps. All right. So what we need to do now is get some kind of forms page going. Okay, let's just give this a build and see what happens. Okay, let's reload. All running, let's go hit up the site. We hit Game Master, see what it comes back with. Unhandled exception. What happened? A few logs. Something was unhappy. Ooh. Did not complete within a time of 30 seconds. So that's something definitely we'll have to look at. How do we handle? Because it's doing a timer, which makes sense. I mean, if you've got services that are taking more than 30 seconds on a front end, they're not going to be very reliant. So we may have to look at creating some kind of callback where actually we also need to create some kind of messaging queue. So where these requests are put to the AI and then they come back. So rather than having it an API based, we have it message queue based. So we've got our system would then put in the request to the game master, it would get processed in the queue. When finished, it would be returned, and then you would have a service that is listening within this application here for those updates, and if an update came through, it would then update the element here. Now, how that functionally works, I'm not sure. I'm not a front-end person, so that, again, this is one of those research ones where it's how do I get that to function, and this is certainly something I might ask Copilot to do. And we'll see how that goes, but I'm not going to get deep into that tonight because I don't think I kind of had the brain power tonight to deal with that. Cool. Alrighty, so we know that's not functional at the moment. That's fine. That's not gonna return in 30 seconds. See if I can extend. So see if I can extend that 30-second timer just for our testing purposes. Okay, so it's in the configure services for the front end app. So that's Copilot. Okay, so it's authentication. We haven't done anything with the auth state or anything like that yet, but so it's in the ad server side. Are we running this as server side Blazor? Pretty sure we were. Service defaults. Do you wonder if we could do something with service defaults here too? Oh, here we go. Add server side Blazor. And then it's saying put in options. Put in detailed errors, that's fine. And we'll put that to 2. Alright, let's see if that fixes that timeout for the moment. We'll reload here. It's running. And let's see if this will return within 2 minutes now. Still thinking about loading. Still thinking about it. No. seeing where the error was. And it still did a timeout rejection. So it's doing so it's probably doing a timeout rejection. Didn't think I was using poly in this, but let's open telemetry, health checks, default endpoints. I don't know if this is standard resilience. Don't know if this has like an options. What's it want to do? That's not the right. Let's haven't used this one before, so what are we doing? Equal. What do we want here? We want HTTP. Some resilience thing. What is it telling me? That doesn't exist. That doesn't help me. Tell me you don't exist. Okay. Telesense is giving me nothing to go on. Time span doesn't work because it's saying that's not. Cannot. Let's time it generator. Okay, maybe that works. So that's gonna. So let's set that to 60. All right. see if that will function. Put this back up. Okay. Right, see if that has any effect on that actual timeout. Okay, we haven't had an error yet. I think it's taking longer. I think it's taking longer to error. Should have timed how long it took actually from the Swagger endpoint to get a response, but oh, I think we just had an exception there, and that's all on timeout. You can actually tell me from this view. Telling me that happened, but did that happen with? Did not allow within 10 seconds. That's certainly not what I put. I mean, it's a change, but okay, not quite what I'm after. I'm doing from seconds, even though the timeout itself is mostly milliseconds. That's fine. Alright, let's see if this has any impact. Learning. Ooh, hosting failed to start. Okay, why did we fail to start? Total request timeout needs to be at least double the attempted. Okay, so we've got to put all of them in. Alright, so okay. Again, I think the correct answer here isn't to be increasing timeouts, it's to be using some kind of callback functionality. And have some kind of reactive component within. We're still. Something else is going on. Let's do that 3. I'm going to do minutes. Say 4. That's 1. See if this has any effect. So setting the max tries to 3, setting the total request timeout to be 4 minutes. Each attempt can be 1 minute, so therefore that should be fine. No, something is still terribly wrong with what I'm doing. Sampling duration. Sampling duration. So I don't think any of these are actually having an issue. Circuit breaker. Okay. Let's see if that has an effect. Okay, so we're setting that. And no, we're still broken. And then now we have the total resilience needs to be greater than the attempt resilience. Okay. Getting there. A lot of work for something that I'm not going to keep. Alright, let's set that to 5 minutes. Sampling duration is 2 minutes. That's... yeah, let's set this to 10 minutes. Just because I don't want it to get in the way. Here we go. There we go. We got it running. Now, after all that, is it going to work? Still not sure. You know the AI endpoint works, but does the client work? There we go. And that was faster than 1 minute. So it said testing is the only thing with description, and it's managed to come back with this whole thing. Alright, so what we want to be able to do then is add in our prompt, so add in our, so fill the object, pass it, return everything, display this, and then be able to add another thing in. So let's see if I can do that. All right. Okay, so we need some kind of form here. Okay, we don't want to repeat all the actions. Maybe for now we do. Maybe for now that's fine. Okay, so we say that's form, simple text form. We hit the submit. Try to remember how to do Blaze forms. Haven't done these in a while. help me, Copilot? Not really. That's okay. Let's ask Copilot directly. Select all this code. Cool. Let's see what it's coming up with here. So, okay, cool. So we actually just need to do that. So what we'll do actually is we're going to have a list of player action. We call it player actions. And so on initialize, we're not actually going to do anything, but that's right. Let's see, task, submit. Now, did we? So we tied that to there. And we've said we want a private. Put. Okay, that's fine. Grab that stuff. Okay. Just checking message. We don't really need to do anything on initialize now. And then up here, we're putting the bind. Player action inputs. Okay. So what we'll do here actually is we will so actually we do need a fine, I'll complain. It's complaining, that's alright. Complaining about nulls, that's pretty much normal. Okay. Now, let's test it. I think we're going to run into an issue because I think what happens when I hit submit, gets it back, and there's new data. I don't think it's going to dynamically update, which is fine. As we need to figure out the best way to handle that. So let's. No, because this is going to say no. Okay. My bad. That's going to be. Let's put this outside of here. And move that. I'm just going to say no data for the moment. Alrighty. So this, bounce this. It's up and running. Hit that. Alright, cool. So now we don't have. Alright. Stop. Because I'm only filling half of it and it's just gonna keep saying outcome false. So I need to have a second input. X. And we'll just gonna call it outcome str, and then we'll go and parse it. Gee. I prefer not to have to parse it here, can I? Type, input types. Yeah. It could be checkbox. Thought it was going to be checkbox. Alright, do it for the moment. But I don't want to do that, no. Kind of want to do a drop down. So this is user select. And then you say outcome here, and it is bool. So option value true. And false. Okay. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Alright. So player action, and then we have a true and a apparently false once. Apparently they want to disappear when selected. Okay, not great, but we will deal with that in a minute. Yeah. And we go to say false. Now, hit it. I guess we don't know if we're actually waiting for a response or not. So I'll give it a minute to see if it's going to come back with something. It may not. Let's go see. There's been no errors. We do have on handle submit. Yeah, this is going to be a hard one to know because I didn't put any kind of output logging or anything on that. maybe I need to. And put them in there. See, because I don't think that's doing what I want to do, which is fine. Right, up and running. We have some saved data. We'll do true. Hit submit. Go back over here. And we're running, aren't we? Looks like it up here. There are they? Developer tools. Elements. Yeah, so this is mostly going to need some kind of trigger a thing, do this, wait for this response. So I have no idea if I'm getting any kind of like what I'm getting from this. Nothing's coming to that console, nothing's coming here. Some metrics coming out of it, which is interesting, but not quite what we're after. Okay, so let's stop that. Now let's go back to Copilot and see if Copilot can help me tonight work out what's going on. Let's see if it understands what I'm asking. I don't think that actually did anything different. So I've got the action description here. So I've got that coming back. And so it should be when we update this, this will no longer equal null. So that should be there. Technically that shouldn't equal null. Anyways, that's fine. So we're waiting that. Alright, I think what I need to do here is actually debug it. So let's see if the debugger will actually help us here. Okay, so just bump that. I can close that for the moment. Alright, with the hit submit. Hit submit. Have I missed? That'll be why. I have not. Doesn't think it told me to do. It's the form. The form's not firing anything because I don't have an on submit handle submit. Let's restart and try that again, hey? Yep. And we've hit. And let's just continue. As we have a horrible error, we had a horrible error. What was that error? Unexpected exception in circuit. What was your unexpected? Object reference not set to instance of object. Okay, line 47. Player action. What do you mean it's not? What do you think that's set to? Okay, well, alright, let's remove that for the moment because that's not doing anything. Let's stop. Just rerun. Okay. It's running. Hit submit now. Haven't got an error. There we go, we got a response, and we have a response. Okay. Now, of course, because we're not persisting, if I tried to... Why did it set the outcome to false? Interesting, the outcome should have been set. Yeah, it's false because I didn't set the outcome to have reception to outcome. Here we go. Alrighty, let's try that again. So hit submit. Need some kind of indicator that's thinking. Again, we go back to the logs, we can see that it's sent through the post and it's returned. Okay. Why is that outcome still false? wonder. Let's change that value. Hit submit. How come it is still false? Not doing anything weird on the API side, or am I? Where I'm forcing player action. Is there? Alright, something weird's happening with that. It's maybe serialization issue. Or it's just again how I've done the selection. There. Now, it could be a great deal of many things, but I think we will save that till next time. So, what have we done tonight? Alright, let's pop this down. Let's add. Let's do an interaction. Push that up to the Reaper. So we've set up our integration with our OpenAI, Ollama running Phi 3. It's on our local system. That's all worked fine. We've managed to get that configured in a library running within this one here, and that's spread across all of these services. We had a little bit of a look at maybe how we could try and do it in the app host. Didn't quite find a way. We could maybe do it in the service defaults, but don't want it to be a default for all services, so that just makes sense. But we'll keep looking at it. Eventually there will be an Ollama component, or we can try and build one ourselves. That is also an option if we want to dig in and have a look at how the component system within the app hosts and within Aspire works, which might be worth it. Maybe we could build our own component which allows us to hit any OpenAI API style endpoint. Something to look into. So, but apart from that, got some stuff done with Blazor there on the front end, so we're actually getting results. Bit of, I think, some parsing of or serialization issues that popped up, but we'll maybe look at those next time. Cool, but overall, I think we had a decent session. So yeah, if there's anything that you'd prefer to see more of, less of, or anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment or to reach out to me at any stage. Kind of happy to receive feedback and anything like that. I did publish my first video today on what is DevOps, really super high level. I'm going to do some follow-up videos on it already, I know, just going into more detail on what DevOps is and where I think it's going, specifically around platform engineering and where DevX fits inside that. That's something I'm very passionate about, is developer experience. So the other thing I want to do is also, I don't want doing a lot of VS Code stuff at the moment. And I do want to get some Visual Studio, like full weight Visual Studio work to kind of look at the developer experience between the two, and maybe JetBrains, maybe, I'm not sure. I'm not a biggest fan of JetBrains. I've tried it a few times. I'm interested to hear other people's opinions on JetBrains. But each time I've tried it, I've just felt clunky, slow, and I just felt like there was so much stuff in it that I didn't need, which is kind of why I like VS Code. I don't need a lot of flashy things to do this kind of development. If I was doing something maybe low level, where I needed CPU profilers, memory profiling, all that kind of stuff, Visual Studio does that. So that may be something there. I do know that Aspire has a bit more support in full weight Visual Studio, so want to have a look at that. But I'm going to have to hold off on that for a minute, as I will be between employers kind of from now for a couple of weeks, and it's going to take some time for me to get some licenses sorted out, because most of my licenses do come through my employers. So I have to make sure they're all cool with me doing this stuff, using those licenses, which it should be fine. I don't see an issue with it, but I will talk to them when I start, which will be next week. But I start with my new employer, so watch out for that on LinkedIn. Cool. Apart from that, we have Microsoft Build is starting very soon. Microsoft Build. So this will be kicking off. Wish I was doing this bucket list one day. Do the Seattle one, but I will be doing this one. So I might I'll have a look at the Cloud Skills Challenge. If I have time, I might be super busy. But this will all start pretty soon. I'm clearly ready for bed. Sorry about that. I don't have my sign in on this browser, but I think it's about 2 a.m. Australian time that the keynote will kick off, so I won't be up for that. I will watch the replay in the morning, and it should be pretty exciting to see what comes out. Have seen a early announcement, which was the Microsoft spell. AI PC, so AI-centric Copilot, so AI-powered Surface Pros, which should be interesting to see where that goes. Surface Laptop 6, hoping to get a Surface laptop with my new role. I have asked for a Windows machine. I've been on a Mac for a year and a bit, and I'm a little over it. I mean, they're great machines, they've got its battery power, but I actually prefer the Windows environment for development. Even with WSL, if I need to do stuff in Bash, but I just generally prefer it. I find it a much easier environment to work in. Cool. So, anyway, well, I hope you all have a great rest of the week. I will try and stream on Thursday again. Mostly continuing some stuff like this. Might get some early kind of discussions around what's happened at Build, and what that might mean. So going to keep it fairly open, not going to structure anything for Thursday. And then I'll also be working on my new video following on from the DevOps one, and we'll see how that all goes. Cool. Well, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you all have a great week, and I'll catch you all later on. Alright, see yous.